And so this, however, as atrocious as these crimes are surrounding the whole UAP issue and the secrecy that has evolved around it since the late 50s, frankly, could still all be stopped. Because let's not forget, President Clinton back in the 1990s had Team Red. That was to do exactly what we're doing now after he got all this information from Project Starlight, which is the predecessor to the Disclosure Project that I was head of, and from people who I was working with back then. And it got stopped dead in its tracks. And most of the people involved were either killed or absorbed into this illegal transnational criminal organization, what I call the TNCO, that is this global operation running these covert programs, not just here, but abroad. So this is a global criminal investigation. And as a RICO, a Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organization, you can look up the RICO Act from the early 1970s. It was set up to take down the mafia, but it's used in other things where there's a larger corrupt criminal conspiracy that is of particular interest to the federal government. So that's what needs to happen. It is what's beginning to happen. But what we as citizens have to do, because I have no official standing in the government at all. I'm a complete, proud to say, outsider, contrary to popular belief amongst idiot UFO conspiracy circles. And the people are going to have to weigh in on this. But the way we do it is that we keep this pressure going in the media, with the films, with the podcasts, with information coming out, but also requesting these sort of whistleblowers with evidence to come forward now, because I can connect them directly to the federal law enforcement officials that can give them protection and immunity from prosecution and secure those secrets and that evidence. We have that in place right now as I'm speaking. So that's why this asymmetric disclosure is really about doing this from outside the bureaucracy of government, but where I have contacts into I call them the white hats, the good guys in government and law enforcement and military and special forces who really want to see this resolved. They are completely 100% on the side of disclosure. So we need to move forward, and that's why asymmetric disclosure, meaning it coming from outside the normal channels in government, is so important. I don't think it'll happen without it being asymmetric.
Well, you know, it's amazing that the front line, it's so dangerous. Disclosure is dangerous. And people, the wet works programs and the missing people, or the murder side, as you call it. Let's just look at one clip from asymmetric disclosure. Again, it's available right now. The link is below. We actually dropped the price more than half, and it's for rental right now. So you guys go out and watch it. Let's take a look at this clip when you talk about the dangers of disclosure. Watch this.
This whole subject, UFOs, ETs, that's not the big issue. It's the technology. It's a science and technology story, because you're talking about bringing out science, technology, information that would alter the world forever in a very good way, but it would terminate $1,000 trillion worth of assets: corporate, oil, gas, coal, jet engines, rockets, car engines. All of it's obsolete. So for that, people are killed for a lot less than that. So that's the big problem. And these inventors, just don't understand that. Now, the CIA director understood, but he still wanted to play the, spy versus spy game. The mistake he made was not setting up a system so that if anything happened to him, that technology on all of it would hit the internet and hit the public. If you disappear, you're the tree that fell in the woods and nobody ever heard about. It's a problem. And what good does that do? He lost his life and this technology didn't get out. So
who coined the dead man's trigger
me
phrase? That was yours?
Mm-hmm.
And how many people are in your connection of circles? If something were to happen to you and you release this information, how many people?
All right, we're back with Dr. Stephen Greer. That's a quick clip from asymmetric disclosure. We're going to be sharing more clips in this podcast. And when you support and watch this, it supports disclosure and the efforts that Dr. Stephen Greer is going through. Let me tell you, it's not easy getting to the information and bringing forth the names. It's interesting. Just I think it was last night, Russ Coulthart, he now agrees with you. The Tic Tac is made by Lockheed Skunk Works. You discussed this in the documentary about these black budget programs working with exotic technology. What do you make of this kind of transition of Russ's statements now aligning with your thoughts on the Tic
Well,
Tac?
look, there are everyone's entitled to their own opinion, not their own set of facts. I'm quoting Senator Patrick Daniel Moynihan from New York from back in the 70s and 80s. I possess the facts. For the most part, people have opinions. And I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just saying, when I said in 2017, 18, that is a Lockheed device, I knew for a fact it was from sources who are in the system and where we have documented. If you look at we have a very interesting book that we just released, I did with Michael Schratt, and this book has the Tic Tac cases all the way back to 1960s where this was operational. 60s. Everyone should get this from drstephengreer.com. It's available, and it's paperback and hardback, and it's an illustrated book of all these crash retrievals in major cases, right? So the other thing, and if you can hand me this, Raven, the briefing document for the president is also available. Now, some of it's redacted, but the briefing document is also available at our site, and it has all the key information that's been given to the Oversight Committee, Senate Intelligence and Armed Services, as well as the House Oversight and the White House personnel, very senior people. And that's available to everyone to read. Now it's about 350 pages. Obviously, most people in an executive level aren't going to read all of that, but we've also done a very short summary at the beginning of it. So that whole document, for the first time, we made available to the public, and it makes a great compendium to asymmetric disclosure because it has everything in it. Now, we all know it's very politically incorrect to read, and nobody reads anymore, but if you are someone who likes to read, there's everything you want to know in there, including the list of the 150 some black sites and the key ones that have been used where covert operations and where aerospace manufacturing plants are located. It has everything in there that anyone would really want to know. The only thing that's been redacted from what was actually provided to the White House and key oversight committees was the list of names that are people who don't want to be known publicly, but are willing to be intel sources and whistleblowers privately. So I make a distinction between the relatively small 10% or so of whistleblowers who are willing to stick their necks out and be known publicly versus the ones who have come forward and whose backgrounds we've checked and want to give information. Those names are unredacted in the full briefing document. But obviously, and when people say, please keep my name private, I do. And this is what this looks like. It's available in hardback or paperback, and everyone should get this. It's a great read and compendium to the film, in my opinion, and really should be looked at together.
Both all the information that's being put forth in this podcast right now. Absolutely. I urge everybody to read, to watch, to digest, because the information, it's so mind-blowing. You really got to study and take your time to wrap your mind about how big this is all.
Huge story.
It's the biggest story of mankind. This is what was kind of interesting in the documentary. And it plays out in real time where you're talking about the false flag invasion and this